Dear students, in last class we have discussed representation of percentage differential relay by a block diagram. In today's class we shall discuss about the protection of transmission lines by using impedance relay or distance relay. But before that, we need to recap some of the circuit analysis concepts. Now here you can see sources in parallel. 3 EMF sources, each having internal impedance of ZS, are connected in parallel between terminal A and B. We know that EMF source having series impedance, that is its internal impedance, may be converted into a current source, and the current through the current source will be equal to EMF E divided by ZS, and this series impedance will be coming in parallel with that current source as shown here. It is a equivalent current source having impedance ZS in parallel, and the current here is calculated as E upon ZS. Like this, I have shown all the 3 sources between terminals A and B connected in parallel. Here you can also observe that all the 3 impedances are connected in parallel between terminal A and B, and all the current sources are also connected in parallel. So now we can represent the parallel connection of all these 3 current sources by a single current source and single impedance between terminals A and B. The equivalent impedance of 3 impedances connected in parallel is ZS by 3, and the current source magnitude will be now 3I, because all the 3 current sources are having same direction, so we have to add them. So it is A and this is B. Again we can convert this current source into voltage source, when we do that, we will be having impedance of ZS by 3 in series with EMF source, and the EMF E will be equal to I into ZS by 3. 3 and 3 will get cancelled, so it is nothing but I into ZS. So between terminal A and B now we are having impedance of ZS by 3 and EMF E equal to I into ZS. So this is terminal A and this is terminal B. Now what would happen if only 2 sources are there? If only two sources are there, then this Zs by 3 will turn into Zs by 2. And if only one source is there, it will remain as Zs only. That is, case 2 for two sources in parallel, equivalent circuit may be drawn in this way. Say this is terminal A, this is Zs by 2, and this is EMF source E equal to Zs into I, terminal B here. Case 3, for only one source, equivalent circuit will be Zs in series with E between terminals A and B. Let us call the three source case as case 1. Three sources in parallel. And here is equivalent circuit. So from this discussion, what we understand is, if number of sources increases, then the source impedance will decrease. You can see here case 3, one source impedance is Zs. Case 2, two sources in parallel in equivalent circuit, we are having impedance as Zs by 2. And in case 1, three sources were in parallel. In equivalent circuit, we are having impedance as Zs by 3. More the number of sources, lesser will be the source impedance. This is what we have to understand. Now we will take the case of transmission lines. Let us say we are having a source which supplies load through three transmission lines in parallel. See, each line is having impedance of ZL here. If for the purpose of maintenance any one line is kept out of the service, then there will be only two lines in service. And if two lines are out of service, then there will be only one line in service. If I have to represent these three lines by an equivalent transmission line, then I will be having a single transmission line between the two buses here. One is generator bus, another one is load bus. And the impedance of the transmission line will be now equal to ZL by 3. So this is case 1. Now let us consider case 2. Wherein we will be having only two transmission lines between two buses. ZL and ZL. If we have to represent these two lines by a single line, then we will be having a transmission line between the two buses with impedance equal to ZL by 2. Case 3. Only one transmission line. Impedance of transmission line will be ZL, which means that as the number of transmission lines between the two buses goes on increasing, the effective impedance of the transmission line goes on decreasing. That is, as the number of transmission lines between two buses goes on increasing, the effective impedance of the transmission lines goes on decreasing. It is ZL here, ZL by 2 here, and it is ZL by 3 here for 3 transmission lines. In power system analysis subject, you have studied that the most severe fault is 3-phase fault. The least severe fault is LG fault, and 2LG fault is moderately severe fault. So we can arrange the 3 faults in the increasing order of their severity from LG fault to 3-phase fault in this way. Faults are more severe. It means that the fault current is higher. So fault current for LG fault is less, for 2LG it is slightly more, and for 3-phase fault it is very high. In other words, we can say that for 3-phase fault, fault impedance is less. For LG fault, fault impedance is highest, and for 2LG fault, fault impedance is moderate. Coming to protection of transmission lines. The relays used in protection of transmission lines are called as distance relays or impedance relays. It is so because In case of transmission lines, the transmission line impedance is proportional to the length of the transmission line. Now you may get a question that in last few classes we have studied overcurrent relay and directional overcurrent relay. Why can't we use those relays for the protection of transmission line? For not using the overcurrent relays to protect the transmission lines, there is a good reason. And that reason is nothing but mal-operation of the overcurrent relay when it is employed for protection of transmission lines. In LV systems, if we use the overcurrent relays, the purpose would be served, because in case of LV systems, continuation of the power supply to the consumers is only the requirement. So, if there happens to be the mal operation and the line gets tripped, the consumers will not be supplied. But after some time, the power supply to the consumers may be resumed. But if we try to use overcurrent relays in extra high voltage systems, mal operation cannot be tolerated, because there only continuous power supply is not the issue. Issue is of stability of the interconnected grid. EHVs are used for interconnecting the grids. So when a line that connects two or more power stations and loads gets tripped, then there will be threat to the stability of the power system. Hence, in extra high voltage systems, we should not employ overcurrent protection schemes, or we should not use overcurrent relays for the protection of lines. To understand why overcurrent relay maloperates when it is used for protection of transmission line, let us consider the simple system shown here. Here is a source. Source means generator for us, and its impedance is ZS, that is source impedance is ZS. It is bus A to which source is connected, and here is bus B, and the transmission line extends beyond this bus B. Between bus A and B there is a overcurrent relay whose pickup current is IPU. It is associated with its CT for measurement of line current, and there is a circuit breaker which trips the line upon receiving a trip signal from overcurrent relay. We know that impedance of the transmission line is proportional to its length. If I start moving along AB from the source bus A, then impedance will go on increasing. For any fault at bus A, fault current will be maximum because only the source impedance will be coming in picture for any fault at bus A. For any fault at bus A means it may be three-phase fault, it may be 2LG fault, it may be LG fault. And as I go away from bus A towards bus B or beyond bus B, the impedance goes on increasing. That is, line impedance will be added to the source impedance, and hence the fault current also goes on decreasing. Now refer to this graph here, which is for fault current versus distance from relay location. At relay location, impedance is minimum, that is only the source impedance. Between this point and the source there is only source impedance, that is minimum. So current is maximum for any type of fault. So here you find three-phase fault current maximum, 2LG fault current maximum, LG fault current maximum, and these all three currents will go on decreasing as the fault moves away from the relay location, because the transmission line impedance will be added to ZS. Here you can also see the pickup current of the relay. Relay will issue trip signal to circuit breaker only when the pickup current is less than the fault current, and when pickup current and fault currents are equal, relay will be on the verge of operation. When pickup current is more than the fault current, relay won't issue any trip signal to the circuit breaker. So you can now see here. So for the given pickup current, for any fault occurring up to point B1, the relay operates as the pickup current is less than the fault current. The relay operates only for 2LG fault and three-phase fault occurring up to bus B. That means these two faults may occur anywhere between bus A and B for relay to operate. But the relay won't operate for LG fault as the pickup current is more than LG fault current. For three-phase fault occurring up to point B2, that is beyond bus B, the relay operates, whereas the relay does not operate for 2LG and LG faults, which means that relay is not looking at all the three types of faults in the same way. that is for a three-phase fault, it operates for the fault point very much far away from the relay location. For LG fault, the relay operates at a distance very close to the relay location. This is what we call as overreach and underreach. The relay operation for three-phase fault occurring before B2 is overreach, and the relay operation for LG fault occurring before B1 only is underreach of the relay. When relay is set to operate for any fault up to bus B, taking 2 LG fault current as pickup current at bus B, then the relay won't operate for LG fault occurring between bus B and point P1 on transmission line. But relay will operate for three-phase fault beyond bus B. So this is what we call as mal-operation of the relay. And this is nothing but effect of type of fault on reach of the overcurrent relay. Now we will discuss effect of source impedance on reach of overcurrent relay. You keenly observe, here the source impedance is shown as variable, and already we have seen when the source impedance value changes, if more number of generators are connected in parallel, then source impedance will decrease. If less number of generators are connected in parallel, source impedance will increase. For the given type of fault, we can vary ZS in 3 steps as ZS1, ZS2 and ZS3. ZS1 being the least, ZS3 being the highest, and ZS2 being the moderate. And these source impedances will be added to the impedance of the line up to the fault point whenever a fault occurs. So for fault occurring at point B1, for ZS1 or ZS2 or ZS3, the impedance will be less. For fault occurring at bus B, again for ZS1 or ZS2 or ZS3, the impedance will be moderate. And for fault occurring beyond the bus B at point B2, for ZS1 or ZS2 or ZS3, the impedance will be maximum. So for any one type of fault considered, occurring at point B1, the fault current will be maximum. At point B2, the fault current will be minimum, and at bus B, the current will be moderate. And the graph of fault current versus distance from relay location can be now seen here. Fault occurring at relay location, that is zero distance, only ZS1 minimum impedance which is less than ZS2 and ZS3, the fault current will be maximum. But as we go away from the relay location, impedance of the line will be added and the fault current will go on decreasing. For source impedance ZS2, which is slightly more than ZS1, the fault current for the fault occurring at relay location is less than the fault current for the fault occurring at relay location but with source impedance ZS1, and that fault current will also go on decreasing as we go away from the relay location. Similarly for ZS1 also, the nature of graph remains same. Now here is the pickup current of the relay, IPU. Here we observe that for any type of fault occurring up to bus B1, the relay will operate for all the three impedances, that is ZS1, ZS2 and ZS3, as the fault currents are more than pickup current of the relay. Whereas for any fault between B1 and B, relay will operate only for source impedance of ZS2 and ZS1 but not for ZS3, as the pickup current becomes more than the fault current for ZS3. And for any fault occurring between bus B and point B2, the relay will operate only for source impedance of ZS1, because for ZS2 and ZS3, the pickup current is above the fault currents, or it is more than the fault currents. So for the relay set to operate for a given type of fault, occurring before bus B, if impedance changes to ZS3, relay will underreach, and if impedance changes to ZS1, relay will overreach. That is, relay maloperates. Please note this point here, that is fault of same type. When we are studying the effect of source impedance, we have to consider fault of any one type, that is 3-phase fault or 2LG fault or LG fault only. So because of these reasons, that is overreach and underreach of the relay, overcurrent relays are not preferred for protection of transmission lines. For protection of transmission lines, the relays are made independent of the fault current, and such relays are used for the protection of transmission lines. And the relays which operate independent of fault current are called as impedance relay or distance relays. Now we will have a discussion on impedance relay or distance relay used in the protection of transmission lines. The figure here helps us in understanding the impedance relay. In this figure you can see, to the left we are having a source, its impedance ZS, that is source impedance ZS, bus A, bus B. Between bus A and B we are having circuit breaker, CT and PT, that is current transformer and potential transformer. Let CT and PT ratio be 1:1 for simplicity. The current measured by CT, voltage measured by PT are given to impedance relay. Impedance relay will operate only when Z set is more than the impedance calculated using current measured by relay and voltage measured by relay at relay point. Since here CT, PT and circuit breaker are placed very close to bus A, we can say bus A as relay point. Now on this transmission line you can see three faults, namely F1, F2 and F3. If the setting of the relay is made for Z set, which is equal to the line impedance between bus A and B, it becomes reach of the relay. The impedance for which impedance relay is set is called as reach of the relay. F3 is now outside the zone of protection because relay reach is only up to B, not after B. Therefore, fault F3 here becomes external fault. F2 becomes reach point fault, that is exactly at the set point. And F1 is internal fault. F1 is internal fault because it is before bus B, where bus B is reach point. Say the impedance between bus A and fault point F1 is ZL1 and the impedance between bus A and fault point F2 is ZL2. Similarly, let the impedance between bus A and external fault F3 be ZL3. Now we can represent this system by a simple model as here. Now here it is the model of the above system. Source impedance, bus A, and fault is here. I have simply written fault here because fault may be internal, reach point fault or external fault. We can slide this to the left or to the right. Here is equivalent line resistance, equivalent line reactance. Voltage measured by potential transformer is VR. Current measured by current transformer is IR. And the voltage measured between bus A and the ground is VR. So we can write VR magnitude is equal to IR magnitude into ZL magnitude, which can be written as magnitude of VR equal to magnitude of IR into magnitude of ZL. For fault F1, impedance ZL1 magnitude is equal to magnitude of relay voltage by magnitude of relay current. For fault F2, magnitude of impedance ZL2 is equal to magnitude of VR by magnitude of IR. For fault F3, magnitude of impedance ZL3 is equal to magnitude of VR by magnitude of IR. Remember here, for ZL1, ZL2, ZL3, the measured values of voltage and current magnitudes will be different. Now when the relay has to operate, the relay has to operate if measured impedance, that is VR by IR, is less than Z set, or if Z set is more than measured impedance. Hence, for VR magnitude by IR magnitude equal to ZL1 magnitude, definitely we have Z set more than ZL1. And relay operates. For VR magnitude by IR magnitude equal to ZL2 magnitude, we have Z set equal to ZL2. And here relay is on the verge of operation. For VR magnitude by IR magnitude equal to ZL3, we have ZL3 more than Z set, and relay does not operate here. So from this we can write a general trip law for the impedance relay or distance relay, as VR magnitude by IR magnitude less than magnitude of Z set then trip. So you can now write here trip law for impedance relay may be written as VR magnitude by IR magnitude less than magnitude of Z set. And remember, this is with an assumption that fault is bolted fault, which means that fault impedance is 0. You can write fault impedance is 0. Next we will study the characteristic of impedance relay or distance relay. You must also know that why impedance relay is called distance relay. It is so because impedance of the line depends on the line length. We are measuring impedance. It means that we are measuring distance along the transmission line. We measure fault impedance. It means that we are measuring impedance between the relay and fault point, or the distance between relay and fault point. That is why it is called as distance relay. We know that radius of circle centered at origin of xy plane is given by x square plus y square. So z, which may be written as r square plus x square. So z magnitude, which may be written as r square plus x square under root, also is a radius of certain circle, which means that z set is a circle centered at origin of xy plane. And if we take along x-axis resistance and along y-axis reactance, then on Rx plane, Z set will be representing a circle centered at r equal to 0 and x equal to 0. So it is X here, and this is R here. This is origin of Rx plane. This circle has now radius of Z set. If the fault characteristic is a straight line passing through origin, F3 is outside the Z set, F2 is on the border, that is at Z set, and F1 is inside the circle. Inside the circle we are now having trip region. So this is trip region. Outside the circle we are having restrained region. Anywhere outside the circle, okay? What is this? This is fault characteristic of the line. And it is in first quadrant. Reason is voltage measured by the relay is positive and current measured by the relay is positive. Let angle here be equal to theta L, and theta L we can calculate as tan inverse of omega L by R. On this axis we are having minus R, on resistance axis to the left we are having minus R, and below the X axis on the resistance axis to the left we are having minus R, on the reactance axis below R axis we are having minus X. So for any fault within this circle relay will operate, and outside and on the circle the relay will not operate. Exactly on the circle, if the fault point lies, relay will be on the verge of operation. Dear students, I will stop the class here and continue in next class with the derivation for trip law of impedance relay using general torque equation of electromagnetic relays. Thank you.